This video is all about the much anticipated Sony a7R V, a camera that's supposed to have 61 megapixels, or is it 100 megapixels? Well, Sony Alpha Rumors tells us that it's going to have neither of those. Details from a reliable source coming up, but first I encourage you to subscribe and choose all notifications so you're kept informed on the latest camera gear, news, and rumors. Wow, it seems like we're going backwards, doesn't it? Earlier this morning, I put out a video on the Sony a7R V with a leaked image of the a7R V, courtesy of Photo Rumors, and I also did a recap of the full leak specifications, again, courtesy of Photo Rumors, back on May the 19th, and it had an awful lot of information. It had a full set of leak specifications on the Sony a7R V, but there were some red flags, which I talked about in a previous video, and one of them was the sensor. According to Sony Alpha Rumors, a highly trusted source has finally confirmed what's going to be in the new a7R V sensor. It will feature a newly developed sensor that is likely to have around 63 megapixels. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, at the beginning of the quote, Sony Alpha Rumors says it's coming from a highly trusted source. And that's a big deal because Sony Alpha Rumors will put out different types of stories. And whenever they start off with a highly reliable or highly trusted source, well, that means something, especially when they say multiple reliable sources. And what that tells us is Sony Alpha Rumors, or Andrea, who runs Sony Alpha Rumors, says, look, trust me on this. I know something. This is what's going to happen. And he gave us the date of the announcement, which is October the 26th at 3 p.m. London time, or 10 a.m. Toronto and New York time. So we've got the date of the announcement. We now know it's going to be 63 megapixels. Well, actually, did you catch that word in that quote? It's not going to be 63 megapixels. It's going to be around 63 megapixels. So I know what you're thinking. Well, isn't 61 megapixels around 63? Well, no, not really. When we're talking about around 63 megapixels, what that's code for is 63.1, 63.3, 63.4, or some other number. Could even be 62.9, but not 61. And that's a big deal because if we look at those full leak specifications from May the 19th, we can clearly see that it's talking about a 61 megapixel sensor. And at the time, I said it's kind of strange that this camera can double the throughput of the a7R IV without being BSI or stacked. And I was pretty sure that this camera, based on the price point rumored to be $3,500, that it would be BSI or stacked. So if it's not going to be 61 megapixels and we have these full detailed list of leak specifications, and Sony Alpha Rumors is getting this from a known and reliable source, a highly trusted source, as Andrea says, well then that throws into doubt all these leak specifications that we got from Photo Rumors back on May the 19th. And what it tells us here today is we know a whole lot less about what Sony's going to put in the brand new camera, the a7R V, than we did just 24 hours ago. So what do we know? Well, it's going to have around 63 megapixels, and it's going to be announced in just about 2 weeks and 2 days, which is October the 26th. No other leak specifications were provided. However, Sony Alpha Rumors did hint at a couple of things. One thing is that extra throughput, that there's going to be considerably more throughput in the a7R V due to the processor. Didn't say image processor, but it said processor. So I'm assuming that it's going to have the new Bions XR processor, and it's going to be able to process a whole lot more information. But does that mean we're going to get 8.6K oversampled 8K? What about 8.6K oversampled 4K? The previous rumored specifications of the a7R V showed it to be an absolute powerhouse when it comes to video, beating out the Nikon Z9 with 8K 60 frames per second with Apple ProRes to give us 9.6K oversampled 8K, although it tops out at 30 frames per second, that gives us considerably more detail. And the same with 4K, 9.6K oversampled 4K. It has all the S-Log2, S-Log3, HDR or HLG, S-Cinetone. It is a really, truly impressive camera based on those leaked specifications, which are now pretty much overshadowed by what Sony Alpha Rumors is telling us. I don't know where the a7R V is going to be, but based on the video specs in the a7R IV, all those impressive video specs that we were getting excited about in the a7R V, I really don't think they're going to be there. With a 63 megapixel sensor, it's certainly possible to provide 8K video, and I do think I'd be surprised if it doesn't provide 8K in all the basic frame rates of 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. But this camera isn't the top end. It's not the Alpha 1. It is down a few levels. It's below the A9 Mark III, or I shouldn't say the A9 Mark III because it hasn't been announced yet, but it's below the A9. So I'm really doubting these video specifications, and they were really impressing me. All these video frame rates and resolutions, 10-bit 422 internal, it just looked to be a really impressive camera, and now I just don't know what to think. I'm feeling a little bit, well, down about the whole thing, because even though there were some red flags around those leaked specifications that Photo Rumors gave us on May the 19th, it was exciting. There was no other information. We were in an information vacuum, which is quite often the case with Sony. So 8.6K oversampled 8K, or I should say, sorry, 9.6K oversampled 4K or 8K. I think that's highly in doubt, but you never know. We'll just have to wait and see. What do you think the specifications are going to be for the A7R5 now that we know it's going to be 63 megapixels? And it pretty much, well, if that's true, then all those other full leak specifications, somebody just came up with that. They took a look at the A7R4 and they thought, well, what can we tweak here? What can we provide minor improvements to come up with an A7R5? And well, that's what Sony engineers were doing. They would look at the camera, the A7R4. We've got a roadmap for the A7R5, the A7R6. What do we want to introduce in this camera? Let's provide minor tweaks across the board. Let's provide more processing power. Being BSI stacked, I think, is important to have in the camera. I really think that makes an awful lot of sense. But everything else, this is a stills hybrid camera. The main focus is on producing high resolution images. And I think 10 frames per second, 12 frames per second is most likely at around 63 megapixels. And video resolution, I just don't know anymore. I'm really kind of left wondering what this camera is going to provide. But let me know in the comment section down below what you think the A7R5 is going to have in terms of leaked specifications. One other tidbit Sony Alpha Rumors did leave us is they did say more information is going to come shortly. And with the camera being announced in just 2 weeks and 2 days, well, 2 weeks and 1 day now, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to get more leaked specifications. And Andrea, if you're watching, please, if you can get us some video specifications, video frame rates and resolutions, will it do 8K? Will it do 9.7K oversampled 8K? Please get us some more information. And in terms of photography, let us know a little bit of what this camera is capable of. We've only got 2 weeks to go. Let's see what you can pull out. Let's see what you can dig into from your known, trusted, reliable sources. I'm really looking forward to knowing more information. And if you want to stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors, make sure you hit that subscribe button, but please choose all notifications. By choosing all notifications, as soon as I publish a new video like this one here, or the one I did earlier this morning, YouTube will notify you so that way you can stay up to date on the latest camera news and rumors. Instead of searching Twitter feeds, RSS feeds, all the websites, news feeds, YouTube sites, you can get it all here. I cover all cameras, all major stories. But thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.